So let's begin with the two creation stories in Genesis. Creation story number 1. God creates everything, everything that you and I see. And then at last, He creates Adam. It's a Garden of Eden. No pain, no disappointment. You're not going to have the philosophy of Buddhism or Hinduism. There is no Maya in the Garden of Eden. There is no pain in the Garden of Eden. No one suffers any trauma in the Garden of Eden. It's a place of comfort. It's a place of rest. It's Sabbath all the time. Now, Adam is walking around enjoying what God has created, but there comes a point where Adam gets bored. He gets tired of walking around and seeing stuff. How it happened in the Garden of Eden, I don't really know. But he gets so bored of all the things that God has created for him that he goes to sleep. God feels sad. So he takes a rib, turns it into a woman called Eve, and now they have a good time. Now, before we talk about Eve, let me tell you Adam's first wife. Supposedly there is a woman in Adam's life whose name is Lilith. Lilith means lady of the dark. And I don't know if any of you in this class have ever experienced darkness. Darkness can be physical. You can turn off the lights and you're walking. You bang your head or knees to this and that. It's filled with pain. So after a while you say, it's too dark. I'm tired of just getting hurt. You just sit. But then there is the psychological aspect of darkness. Remember, life is a puzzle. All of us are looking for tools to figure out how this puzzle works or find pieces of this puzzle. When you realize you can't find the pieces, you get frustrated, you get anxious, you get angry. And every time anxiousness, anger comes about, your hope goes away. As your hope goes away, you become sad. As sadness increases, you become sorrowful. As sorrow increases, you get depressed. And in depression, you always get lonely. Now, there is a reason as to why Lilith was pushed out of Adam's life. One day, Adam goes home, gets on top of Lilith. And Lilith says, no. Why do you have to be on the top all the time? I want to be on the top. Adam disagrees with Lilith and says, no, I've always been on the top and I wish to continue to be on the top. And since the couple can't figure this out, they go to the main therapist, i.e. God. God looks at Lilith and says, Lilith, listen to me. Adam is right. He's been on the top all the time. Let the tradition continue. And Lilith says, the first existentialist. Why? No. Imagine a woman looking at God and saying no. And God looks at Lilith and says, I don't really care what your position is, Adam is going to be on the top. Lilith goes home, packs up her bags and leaves. It's devastating, really. Ask yourself why it is that pain causes reflection. When all of a sudden a set of questions come about, and you beat yourself up to find an answer, but no answer comes about. And after a while, you become frustrated, and then you get confused. I mean, imagine you've been married, and it's a good marriage, but all of a sudden cracks begin to appear. And you want to put the cracks back together. You want to continue with the relationship, but the cracks grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And as your worries increase, as your confusion increases, all the fantasies, all the history begin to disappear. Your relationship, you feel disconnected. Then you lay in bed, you won't get up. Then you get hopeless. Then you get depressed. Then it's all dark. And in darkness, you begin to question everything about who you and what you are. What you have in the story of Lilith is the following. None of us in this class enjoyed darkness because it removes power from us. We like light. We like answers. We like assumptions. There is a reason why Adam sleeps, because he grows tired of every physical thing that God has created for him. It's not enough. God knows what happens if Lilith was to sit on Adam. Adam in Hebrew means earth, made of flesh and bones. You need to understand that me, very much like the rest of you in this class, all of us in this class have been blessed. Why? You see a man or a woman, you find them attractive, you pursue them. That's purpose. You have money. You go to India, you go to China, you go to the Middle East, you go to Zachary's. Resources allow us to enjoy what God has created. You come to this class, you have ears. You open your notebook and you write the information down. And you assume it's important. That's purpose. You don't have Lilith sit on you, because the moment you feel darkness, nothing really matters. Everything becomes irrelevant. Ask anyone who has divorced and they will tell you. We try to keep the darkness away. We try to make it work. We try to push the big questions, the heavy questions away, not to carry the cross of confusion and doubt. But eventually we came to realize there is no fixing this relationship. 15, 20 years of a relationship, a history. Your belief in God, your parents, your children, all of a sudden darkness emerges. We don't see any hope. You begin to ask serious questions. Your time, your energy, your youth, your hopes, your fantasies, your meaning, your relevance. Should you walk away? Are you still a wife? What kind of a woman or a man are you? How are your kids gonna feel? These are huge questions with no answers. Are you gonna get sad? Yes. Is Sarah gonna be your companion? Absolutely. Will you be depressed? Yes. Will depression make you lonely? Yes. Are you consumed? Do you embody Lilith? Absolutely. Because your senses become dysfunctional. They can't take you to any place that can give you purpose and meaning and comfort. Some of you in this class have lost people in your life. People you love, people you cared for. A son, a daughter, a father or sister, a brother. While you're grieving, what happens? Where is the light in that? It's all tears. It's all hopelessness. It's all screaming. You go home, you turn off the lights, and you just sit. Your phone rings, you won't pick it up. You have text, you won't reply. You need to understand God will do whatever He possibly can to keep darkness away, because it's not good for us. You can never have Lilith sit on you. That's why God looks at Lilith and says, get out. You're gonna destroy my creation. I created for Adam Costco, San Leandro. It opens at 9. It has 1,000 different aisles. Adam can go there. It's like a zoo. He can walk around and enjoy the stuff. Free food. Once in a while, he can even raise her a bag of coffee and take it out for free. Buy stuff. Buy a brand new TV, take it out of the box when they get home, spend the next 5 hours trying to put it all together. That's 5 hours of distraction, purpose, meaning. And then you sit, and then you watch Rambo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how life is spent. There is, in the creation story, a psychological aspect to Adam, which is the following. Remember what we talked about in Buddhism, about dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction ultimately is the result of being bored. You just get tired. You don't want to do anything anymore. So what you have in the story of Lilith and the story of Adam falling asleep, two very, very important things. Make sure that you participate and engage in the physical world fully. It will give you meaning and purpose. And the moment the world can no longer nourish you, you can be certain that Lilith will come to visit you. Darkness will sit on you, consume your entire life. And if you paid attention to your own life, you realize every time you get a little hopeless, you do whatever you can to push it away. Whenever you get a little depressed, you try to push it away. You and I do the same exact thing that God did to Adam. You try to push darkness away as God pushed darkness away from Adam, Lilith. So Adam is given a second wife. Her name is Eve, Sheva in Hebrew, which means giver of life. But this is a different kind of a life. And Eve appears and reappears in all cultures. Eve or Sheva is a Socrates, is a Malcolm X, is a Mahatma Gandhi, it is Jesus Christ. They create a different kind of a darkness. But you have to be open to the message of Socrates. Not just open to receive it, but have that message like a seed go inside you, live inside you, grow inside you, and then ultimately become you. What you have in Genesis, because it doesn't really mention Lilith at all, is that God creates Adam, comes to realize Adam is not very happy. You guys can kind of figure that out, why Adam would be so unhappy in the Garden of Eden. God puts him to sleep. Does God make a mistake? Maybe. Takes a rib, creates an Eve, Sheva, life giver, and says, hold hands together, go out there and have a good time. You're still going to have a good time enjoying what God has created. Something very strange happens. All of a sudden, you have this particular character, serpent, appearing from nowhere. And the funny thing about the serpent is the following. The serpent does not speak to Adam. Jesus does not speak to the ears of your head, but ears of your soul. And that's the most dangerous kind of a serpent you could ever experience in your life. Your body is designed to enjoy the creation of God. The serpent is there to make sure you have zero interest in God's creation. If Socrates was aborted, if his mother never went through with a pregnancy, we would probably never know what a gadfly is. And you guys know what a gadfly is, right? A gadfly, you have a horse, Pegasus. He has wings, like all of us in this class. Now remember, inside all of us, there are two forces. You have the Adam and you have the Eve. Adam always sits on the Eve, always. We don't want a spiritual life because it's filled with Lilith, it's filled with darkness, confusion, anxiety, dread. It doesn't serve us well in life. So what you have in the story of Pegasus is you have a horse that has no Eve in it, no life in it, likes to walk around, likes to have fun, likes to enjoy life. But all of a sudden someone comes about and says, listen, did you know you have wings on your side? Why do you want to study business? You sit in the classroom, you ask great questions. Why not major in history? And then you become a horse without the wings. You say, the world is complicated. My parents need money. I need money. I'm an immigrant. And you will do whatever you can to kill your own inspiration because you function through your five senses. The gadfly, on the other hand, sees this horse and sees that the horse is ready, sits on the horse and bites it. It's like when you go home after, like, say, a class, let's say you took a psychology class and you guys spoke about love. And you go to your companion and you ask, what is love? And it doesn't matter what your companion says, it's just insufficient. And you keep asking and asking and asking. And then you realize your companion is just so insufficient, they don't really know what love is. And then you say, if you don't know what love is, how can you claim that you love me? And then he sleeps on the sofa and you sleep on the bed, but neither of you can actually have a good night's sleep. You're tossing and turning. That's a gadfly. It creates confusion. Now, the funny thing about being a human being is the following. All of us have moments where Eve or the gadfly stings us and says, your life is not enough. Being simply meat is not enough. Why just study business? Why not also major in computer science, if that happens to be your passion? A moment of inspiration. Eve, the giver of life. What makes the presence of Eve dangerous is the following. Eve is always going to be the bringer of discontent. Life is not enough. Why do you study philosophy? It doesn't make you money. There are no jobs. Your parents are divorced. They can hardly pay rent. And here you are in America, a vulturous culture with zero support system. You do philosophy or psychology or history? And no one's going to give you a job with a bachelor's. You're lucky if you get a job with a master's. And why the hell would you want to reflect and think about things? Because the only place you can go with deep reflection is darkness, complexities. Why would you want to have Lilith as your companion? Because inside us there are two forces. One says live your physical life. The other says, live your emotional, i.e. spiritual life. As the serpent enters the Garden of Eden, God looks at Adam and Eve and says to them, listen, go anywhere, do anything you want. There is this spot in the garden, you can't go. There is this tree in the garden, you can't go near. If you go near, don't touch. If you touch, don't pick. If you pick, don't put in your mouth. If you do, don't chew. If you chew, don't swallow. Hear the name Socrates, but don't touch him. Don't go to Barnes and Nobles and buy the Republic. But should you buy the book, don't read it. Should you read, don't think about it. Should you think, don't reflect. Should you reflect, don't apply. Now, just in case you thought that God simply told Lilith to get out, his message to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden in Genesis is going to be different, but it's not. It's the same thing. There is something profoundly special about this particular space in the Garden of Eden, that particular tree. All of us in this class have had moments of discontent, meaninglessness, dissatisfaction, but it's never been intense enough. We've never been plunged into darkness and deep chronic depression to yearn and long and seek wisdom. It's always a passing thing for us. In Indian culture, Middle Eastern culture, darkness and depression are beautiful and cherished states of being. In depression, you fast. Nothing tastes good. The world means nothing. Life means nothing. What you have in the Garden of Eden, depression, forces Adam and Eve towards this tree. And this tree has the knowledge of good and evil, i.e., it has the Spirit of God in it. Once you eat what this tree can give you, you don't need the Bible. You don't need therapy. You don't need to read books. You are the kingdom of God. But here's the thing you need to understand. You will never walk into a classroom where Socrates is teaching. He's never going to give you information that's good for your head. Never. Information is for the physical body and physical life. The serpent proposes a different scenario. But remember, he doesn't speak to Adam. He speaks to Eve. Says to Eve, look, go over there where that tree is. Take a bite. We no longer have to obey God. You don't have to obey anyone. You become autonomous, a law unto thyself. The problem with the serpent is the following. Should you approach this tree, now this tree becomes symbolic of Socrates, it becomes symbolic of Malcolm X, it becomes symbolic of Mahatma Gandhi, of Jesus Christ, Muhammad, the Buddha. Why? Very much like Plato's allegory of the cave, they push us out of the Garden of Eden. What is our Garden of Eden? Go to school, get a degree, get a job, make money, get married, have children, you'll be happy. That is our Garden of Eden. The price that you and I may have to pay if we listen to the serpent is expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Maybe you will never get married because now you know too much, you see too much. Maybe you'll go to school, but you're not seeking information. And so you have to suffer 10 years of education just for a diploma so you can get a job and then walk into the classroom and create your own Garden of Eden. Expulsion is always painful. You will plunge into meaninglessness. Remember what happened to Adam and Eve. The moment they listened to the serpent and they took a bite, when they landed on earth, what exactly was there for them? Nothing. Toil, blood, tears. It was a desert. Nothing grows. For those of you who are dissatisfied, let's just say, with your job, and many of us are, because for the most part, Marx is right. We work to make money, to pay rent, to pay gas, to pay electricity, to pay for food. They're not fulfilling. They're not nourishing. Expulsion means you come to this place and there is nothing that will excite you. You marry, not because you love, but because you have the wisdom of God inside you. And you know what wisdom tells you? Loneliness is hard. Getting old is hard. Being sick and being alone is hard. Dying alone is hard. Marx is wrong. Species self does not exist. You have to be profoundly lucky to get a job that's an extension of your soul, that you can reflect, see your own reflection in what you're doing. You work because you need money, and you're also aware, and you're aware because you have the wisdom of God inside you. You're aware that you are selling your soul for a few dollars, and you must. You have sex not because you love, because something about you craves intimacy. You're thrown on this planet, you've been abandoned. You need someone to hold you once in a goddamn while. Adam, someone like me, enjoys life very much. Once in a while, because psychologically I'm wired to just get bored and dissatisfied with life, with myself, with pleasure. Lilith comes to visit me. Darkness, depression, sadness. I will do what I can to distract myself from darkness. Maybe I'll smoke. Maybe I'll have sex. Maybe I'll go watch Mike Tyson fight. Maybe I'll go take a few classes. Maybe I'll walk around the lake. But Jean-Paul Sartre was right. Boredom is patient. Wait, and waits, and waits, and eventually boredom will knock on your door and says, here I am. You can't run away from me for too long. God creates Eve. Now you have a companion. You can hold hands and have a great time. Now, just in case you yourself are dissatisfied, Eve can entertain you a little bit. But all of a sudden, from nowhere, appears a Socrates or a serpent. You know, when the British had occupied India, 400 million people, the population of India, 40,000 British soldiers. How could 40,000 soldiers impose their will on 400 million people? They could. People live their lives, not completely happy, but nevertheless. All of a sudden appears a serpent. And remember the first law of life. You will do what you can to preserve, protect your life, your physical body, your physical life. A serpent called Mahatma Gandhi comes about. People walk away from their life, their jobs. Some are willing to die for a cause. You're a father, you're a mother, you have a job. You have all these passions and desires, and yet you're willing to give them all up. Why? Because Gandhi speaks to the Eve, to the Shiva, to the emotional, spiritual part of you, and you're willing to sacrifice everything. That's expulsion from the Garden of Eden, made for man. So, for those of you who desire to go on a spiritual quest, whatever that may mean, keep in mind, it's not what Dr. Phil says, it's not what Jordan Peterson says, it's not what Oprah Winfrey or Eckhart Tolle say. You have a full, rich life. Once in a while you hear the whispers, sometimes the roars of Eve within. Sometimes you hear the support of serpent. Try it. Be curious, be interested, be infatuated, be upset, fall in love with wisdom. The world offers you information. Your soul offers you wisdom. Seek it. And then what you may come to realize is most people will only give you information. Most books will only give you information. And now you have the wisdom of the Buddha inside you. Before you begin to watch a movie, you know how it's going to be. Pleasure, boredom, and then you're going to realize it's been a complete waste, so you won't even do it. And then you have to ask yourself, what is really worth doing in life? And if you happen to be Eve, nothing.